Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box with the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Tuesday, June the 19th. These are the charts of the day. Well, you can see from the charts we have up front on the indices, we had a big plunge in the morning, a bounce, and then a lower low, got down to secondary support before the rally ensued. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a truncated fifth wave at the end of the day. I'm not sure, since we've looked back and we're seeing nothing but similar patterns. Take a look at this. First of all, it looks to me like over the last few days, we've come down, rallied back in what looks like bear flag formations, came down, rallied in what looks like a bear wedge formation, and then plunged and did the same thing. So these are basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. So one of the reasons why we had a better rally today, I think, is because we were in a fifth wave decline. And if you look at it on the, that's the NDX. You look at it on the S&P, you'll see a similar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, and then this rally up. But each time we've rallied back here, here, and here, we've gapped down the next day. 1, 2, 3 consecutive down day gaps. And you can see how it looks like on the hourly, what it looks like on the hourly chart. Down, down, and down. Finally, on the S&P, we came down to the double top and this gap here, which was tested. This is a key line in the sand for me. That's 2740. If we go below that, we're likely to see 2700, maybe 2680. If this line is going to be the line in force right here, that's the trend line for the intermediate move, then we could easily punch it up through here and run to 2840, 50, 60. But at this point, I can't tell you what's going to happen. And more than likely, we'll just have to go day by day and find out what the market is going to give us. But the bottom line is we've had so many day trades that look awesome. Let's take a look at some that are, either day or swing trade that I'm looking at carefully. ACBFF, one of the, I think it's the second largest cannabis stock besides CGC, which I'll get to in a minute, also had that big run up. Looking at the long-term move, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming off of this base, you can call it 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not so sure yet. I don't think marijuana is anywhere near done. I think longer term they're good plays. I think this could be a $20, $25 stock at some point. What we're seeing now is a run up to resistance and a pullback. Today was a bit of an up day, up 5%. But I need to get this, and we should watch 790. We get through that, looking at 9 3/4, 10, and then 12.5 again. Keep an eye on this one. Keep an eye on volume. While we're on the subject, CGC, similar long-term pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the way I view it, once the stock breaks out of a base, you begin to count. So this is a 1, 2, 3. This is 4. If we're looking at the way this is now projecting, after that huge run-up, that saw it go mini 5 waves up to 35 and change, back down into the mid-teens, it then based out, broke out, consolidated, formed the platform, formed the wedge, and today broke out. The volume was significant enough at 4.5 million, in my thinking, the biggest volume this stock has ever traded on an update that I can see, going way back here. So for me, this is a significant breakout day, I think. We'll see if there's a follow through tomorrow. My targets are now 35.5 3/4, and then I'm looking at 40 or better. Biotech still rule of the day, and the LABU did wonderful. Let's start with that. LABU, after a 1, 2, 3, 4, broke out of the wedge, and I think is going to test its highs. Probably tomorrow, between 112 and 115 area. Should it get through that and biotechs have a big move, 147.50 zone is a possibility, but we need to get through the double top first. Junior biotech, Axia, I should say. Inverse head and shoulders. Now here's what I talk about many, many times. V bottom, pop, form a platform. Usually they break out. It did so today. Now it didn't hold the gains, but it was up 220 or 9%. Volume picked up. OBV's looking okay. I'm looking on a very near-term basis for this to test near 29. We get through that, we're looking at 33. ARRY had a big day, a big bullish engulfing bar, coming off the trend line and the moving average and breaking out the boot at the close. Short-term target is 21.5-2, and immediate target 25.6. ARWR powerhouse. Look at that thing move. This has gone from $1.40 to 14, tenfold, just in the last year. Now it's many, many waves up, but today, yesterday and today were really outstanding days, closing at the upper end of the range on big volume. Now my target was about 14, and my next target is about 17. I'll stick with that. Audentes Therapeutics are bold. You can see the multiple tops up here. Today it popped again, breaking out of the wedge, up 178 or 4.5%. Volume was a solid 1 million. Biggest volume in 3 weeks. Tells me we may be headed higher. Looking at the intermediate chart, I had a target of 48. I'll stick with that. My longer term target is the channel top. Comes in about 63, 65. So that could be a beauty. Coherus another. CHRS swing trade may have broken out today, but we need a follow through. Note that today's high was 16.95 and the high back in May was 17.05. So we got to get to that zone. Next target's 20 and then 24. CLBS had a spectacular day today. Congratulations to Andre on picking that one this morning. After it popped, it then coiled. That was a long 2-hour bull coil, and when it popped out, note the volume, how heavy it was, then another coil, then a pop again with bigger volume, and then this is where it really ramped up once it got above 6. Huge move after hours to about 9:15, and then the pullback. On the daily chart, you'll see that looking back on an weekly basis, a long basis formed. This is a reverse split, by the way. A long basis formed. The spike high here in 2017 at 7 3/4 or so would be my near-term target, but after hours it's above that. So let's see if it pulls back and settles in around that 7 3/4 range where there might be support, and then takes off again. Tomorrow's target at 9 3/4, 10. Cool. Really like the way it's acted since it broke out here and ran up sharply. Now the falling wedge and then the run up interrupted by the Citron report. Of course, they could only do so much and they couldn't knock it down. I know several institutions that took advantage of this sell-off to buy a lot of stock. Anyway, 25 1/4 a half area, 25 1/4 support. It snapped right back up on decent volume, not huge, to retest the highs at 33, 33 1/4. We get to this, we're going 38 and then 45. Those are my targets. CSOD, I added that to the swings today. Here's why. Look at the weekly chart. Look at this massive inverse head and shoulder. The wedge here. The breakout retest of the highs. Triple top there. Pull back. Then it broke right through. Long term, looks to me like the stock is headed for a retest of the 2014 high at 60 plus, 60, 61. That's my near-term target. I do think this stock has a shot at being 70. EOLS. New issue, recent IPO, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like it might have broken the wedge today. Why do I say wedge? Right there. The key was getting through resistance at 31.35 area. Broke that and closed at 32.66 up. 440, 15%. Looking for a retest of the highs here at 39.5. Then I'm looking for a mid-channel level up around 48. So looking for like 39, 40, and 48. Fate. After that smackdown, I was very cautious, but note that it held support around 11. Smacked back to 12.31 today. That was up 88 cents or 8%. Watch this spike high. If it gets through 13.36 and then runs through 14.45, that 35.45 area is resistance. Then I'm looking for a run to around 19. NCME, well, did a deal buying back their stock from AMC today. This is a beautiful base. Resistance there. Note that today it broke out and jumped to 7.6% on $1.5 million. I think it's on its way to test the gap at 10. Excuse me. NEPT. Multiple waves up, looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it came down, formed the base, or a large coil. Today was a breakout day. 10.9 million shares. This jumped 78 cents, and that's 32% pop. It does, on a small price stock, that's a big move. We get above 3.5, and today's high was 354. I think the stock could move into the 5-6 range. Big news today, big contract. ONCE also broke a wedge today through a double triple top area. I'm looking for a run that takes this one up to 90.92. We get through that, we're looking at 105, 108. Sarepta with a monster move today on big drug news, but it gave back a big chunk, getting up to 176.50. At that point, it was up like 75 points, but it did back off. I want to see now what happens with this stock and whether it holds that gap or backs and fills in this area and then maybe works its way higher. I think we're looking at a $200 stock. And finally, Solar Window, which has a big mover here, hammered back to resistance, rolled over, retest, double bottom low, and came up to resistance today and declining tops line and two moving averages with a big thrust of $1.06 at 30%. Line wasn't big, it's not a heavily traded stock, but I think it makes its way up to 6 again. Folks, that's the charts of the day tonight. Have a good evening.